Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another video. In today's video we have some really exciting news about the Book of Boba Fett. We're also going to be talking about the Filoni-verse and more. So without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So very recently Temuera Morrison gave an interview with Project New Zealand or Project NZ. And he gave us a teeny weeny bit of insight into the Book of Boba Fett. So let's read this article which talks about it. Since the announcement of the Book of Boba Fett in the final moments of the Season 2 finale of Mando, rumours have circulated around the Star Wars fandom about when filming would begin for the series. Last week, the man himself put those rumours to rest during an interview with the New Zealand current affairs show The Project, which fans on Reddit first discovered. In this interview, Temuera Morrison discusses being in Los Angeles for filming and goes into some detail about how the process of the pandemic is being handled on set. So the most awesome part of this interview is the fact that he gives the hosts a short tour of his gym setup. He shows us some weapons in the background and also what kind of training he's been doing. He even jokingly refers to himself as Mr. Action Man. Temuera Morrison also showed off his new t-shirt which featured artwork of rock band themed Boba Fett standing in front of stormtroopers that read Boba Fett and the Strum Troopers and joked about practicing Billy Idol songs with the Book of Boba Fett executive producer Robert Rodriguez. From the Disney Gallery The Mandalorian special, it's quite clear that the two enjoy entertaining the cast and crew with musical interludes between takes. If you guys remember from the gallery for season 2, we did see Robert Rodriguez with his guitar singing to Grogu, and I think that blew up online. I think the most exciting takeaway from this interview is the fact that we can expect Boba Fett to be very physical in this show and there's going to be so much action. Ming-Na Wen is obviously going to be the co-star and she's playing Fennec Shand as she did in The Mandalorian. While very little is known about what direction the Star Wars team plans to take with the Book of Boba Fett, it's in very good hands with the same team of Mando working on this project as well. I must also say it was really good to finally see some kind of glimpse of the show. We only got the teaser at the end of the Season 2 finale of Mando, but nothing substantial since, and we're still waiting for a trailer. While we don't know when the trailer will drop, this is really exciting because we finally get to see Boba Fett in all of his glory, and it's going to be a show just dedicated to him and his adventures on Tatooine in the underworld crime scene. So what do you guys make of this? Are you excited for the Book of Boba Fett? Let me know in the comments down below and we'll move on to our next article. So now my friends, we're going to be talking about Rian Johnson, who seemingly supports the Filoni-verse. His controversial film The Last Jedi is still hated amongst so many fans. This article from CBR sheds light on Rey's quote-unquote Dagobah moment. And of course they're not referring to actual Dagobah, they're referring to the mirror scene which took place on Arctu Island. So let me read to you this really fascinating article. Star Wars The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson compares the cave scenes from The Empire Strikes Back and The Last Jedi and how he wants to see more of the world between worlds. As you guys know, the world between worlds will be explored even more so than it was in Rebels in the Ahsoka Tano series. Writer Rosario Dawson recently spoke with Rian Johnson over Zoom call and has been sharing details of the conversation with Star Wars fans online. It appears that 2 days ago she shed light on the mirror cave scene in Johnson's film, where Rey enters a mysterious cave on Arctu and sees a series of visions. The moment parallels the one that we saw in episode 5, where Luke enters the Cave of Evil on Dagobah. When Wilson asked Johnson if Rey saw Ben Solo in the cave, in his own words he said, similar to Luke going into the cave in Empire, it is left open to your interpretation. He didn't want to be definitive about it so it wouldn't take away from what you got out of it. And that's what Wilson added. She then writes, he saw it as Rey having to see that who she has to connect with and answer to is herself, because she'd been looking for answers from Luke. She wants to know her place in this story and is reaching out to people to find it. He likes that it's left open for interpretation. Obviously guys, J.J. Abrams came in and completely destroyed this storyline by stating that Rey is actually the granddaughter of Palpatine. But evidently for a while between 2017 and 2019, we just assumed that Rey was a nobody. Sarai Wilson then says he saw the mirror cave scene as an internal experience. I asked him about it being connected to the world between worlds. He reiterated that he saw it as internal for Rey. As a Star Wars fan, he hopes that we'll get more world between worlds content in the future of Star Wars, but he is just speculating and doesn't have info on it. Introduced in Star Wars Rebels, the world between worlds is a gateway point between time and space. Ezra Bridger accesses it in the series and uses it to save Ahsoka Tano from Darth Vader. Palpatine then uses them to access it, but Ahsoka is able to fend him off. Many fans have speculated that the cave Rey finds herself in is connected to the world between worlds, and it seems as though this was a big inspiration for Rian Johnson, as other elements from Rebels have featured in films. From now though, however, the unique part of the Star Wars lore has yet to make a proper live-action debut, and probably will in the Ahsoka Tano series. We already knew that Rian Johnson is a big Dave Filoni fan, and the fact that he invoked the world between worlds as his inspiration for that scene in The Last Jedi proves that he is for the Filoni-verse. Having said that, he will change his mind obviously if Filoni decides to use the world between worlds to retcon the story of the sequel trilogy. But it's seeming more and more unlikely that that will happen, because Jon Favreau made it clear he's going to work with the existing framework of the timeline, which means that The Mandalorian will eventually tie into the events of pre-The Force Awakens. Here's the thing, I've heard a lot of fans say that they really don't like the fact that it'll tie into the sequels, but I don't think they're literally going to show us the same characters and story arcs. They're just going to build up momentum until the First Order is created. They're going to give more context to the sequels rather than eradicate them or literally show us them. And so finally, an article from Digital Spy, Star Wars finally reveals what happens to dead Jedi's lightsabers. Claudia Gray's Into the Dark has answered a lingering question you might have had about Star Wars: just what does happen to the lightsabers of dead Jedi? There have been rare instances in Star Wars canon where we know exactly where lightsabers have ended up. For example, Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber ended up being kept in the Jedi Temple, and so did Tar Vizsla's Darksaber until it was taken during the fall of the Old Republic in order to unite Mandalore. Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber was kept by Obi-Wan before he handed it over to Luke Skywalker, who lost it on Cloud City. On the whole though, it's been very unclear until now exactly what happens to every other lightsaber in the galaxy. Now we know that the lightsabers, or more specifically the kyber crystals in them, live on in the form of a Jedi obstacle course. Claudia Gray's Into the Dark centers on Padawan Reath Silas, who is sent off on a mission that sees him personally experience the huge disaster that kicks off the entire High Republic series. Before that fateful trip though, he's happily studying the archives at the Jedi Temple, which turns out to also be the home to something called the Kyber Ark. The Kyber Ark is an archway constructed out of the kyber crystals taken from the lightsabers of dead Jedi, which is standing in one of the temple's meditation chambers. It's described as being thick at the base and extremely narrow at the top.
That's what she said!
However, it's not just there to be a memorial, but it's actually a challenge from the Force, which calls to certain Jedi to scale and cross the Kyber Ark as an advanced meditation technique. So there is the official canon answer that we finally received. And that, my friends, concludes this news update. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, give that notification bell a good old tickle, and also please be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for just $2 or $10 a month, you can get exclusive access to content that's not found here on this channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.